Hey guys, today we're going to be making this raindrop rainbow mobile. Sorry, that was a bit of a mouthful. And we will be working on it together. So let's get straight in and let's get making. Okay, so first off, these are the things that we're going to need to get started. Some wool for the rainbow, some rope to wrap the wool around. That's going to be the rainbow shape. We need some tulle or some sort of very fine see-through fabric. This tulle is lovely and you can get it in most craft shops. We'll also need some thread. I've got this see-through thread, but to be honest with you, it was an absolute nightmare to use. We've got some beads, some lovely colourful sort of raindrops shaped beads. I've got two styles here. I've also got some seed beads I might use to cap off the end, but I'm going to see if I'm going to use them. It just makes it easier when threading the bead. We've got some needles that will fit through the seed beads. I've also got some other coloured thread and a bigger, thicker sort of needle to help me go through the rope. I've got some colourful, lovely ribbons here, just in case I want to add some texture to my rainbow. I might stick with just the wool, or I might go with some of these ribbons. I've also got some of this lovely garden wire, which is so easy to use. It's quite flexible, but it's firm enough to hold its shape. So that'll be useful unless you want to use some sort of craft wire. And we've also got some tools which you'll need as well. Okay, so for the first part, we'll need the rope cutting to the size of each layer of your rainbow. So if you just create an arch and just cut each section to the right size, so that when it is curved, it all falls neatly together. Don't worry too much if it's not neat at the ends, because we can adjust that later on, or we're going to hide most of it anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. We'll also need a piece of wire, which I've cut to probably double the size of the biggest piece. I've also got a pencil to wrap the wire around, just to create a nice loop. And I changed my mind about the wool, and I'm going to go with some nice colourful and metallic shades instead. Okay, so we're going to start. We're going to get our wire, halve it, and then I'm literally just going to make a twist. So you don't need it to be too big, just a nice round loop like that, and that's where your whole mobile's going to hang off. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep that, and we're going to use it to shape. We won't use it for the top one, we'll use it for the second one like that. Okay, so when we attach the second piece of ribbon, we're going to do it like that. So this one here will be at the bottom and that one will be at the top. Okay, and then it's just a matter of winding our string around each individual piece. If you use a glue gun, you can actually stick it down before you wrap it, and we're just going to go round and wrap it around like that. Do that with each one except the one that's going to be wrapped around the wire. So what we're going to do is take the rope fold it in half, and we're going to put that on an even sort of stance with that. I'm actually going to put a tiny bit of glue there just so it doesn't move. So I've just put a bit of glue, a little blob, just to hold that in place there. Just spread that out a little. So it just holds it together. Okay, we've actually shaped it. So we've got that now. And then we're going to start winding our thread. I do like to make a loop to start with. Loop that through. We want the wire wrapped. Okay, and now we're going to carefully wrap. I'm going to wrap it and then glue it. And just so I've got a bit more access, I'm just going to fold that in like that. Okay. I just want to secure that on as well, so I'm going to cut that there. Just going to glue it. Adjust the shape to get it a bit more uniform, and then I'm going to actually glue my other ones on. So I'm going to glue that one on, and there is going to be a bit visible there, that's why I covered that bit, so it's okay. But I just want to glue this one down, so I'm going to do that first. Okay, now I'm going to attach the middle bit to my rainbow. So I'm going to attach some glue, and then I'm going to stick it together. That's it, put it all together so we've got it there, and I've stitched through it like I did last time after gluing it. So we've got a finished piece. I've still got my other rainbow one that I did, which is bigger, but this one I've decided that I'm going to use for my canvas. So this one's going to be used on my canvas, so that one's going to be set aside, and this one is going to be used for the raindrops. So we've set our rainbow aside for a second. We'll be needing a ring for the rainbow to actually sit upon. So I'm going to use some of my craft wire here, my garden wire, and I'm going with a 15 centimetre diameter. I'm just using my mat here to measure the 15 centimetres, so it's roughly about that size. So I'm just going to cut it, and I'm just going to stick it together with some tape. I actually found this ring, it's like a crafter's ring, and it's actually quite sturdy. So it was pennies really. I think it was about 90 pence from our local sewing shop, fabric shop. So I'm going to use that as the same width, 15 centimetres. So if you come across one, I'm sure you can find them online or in your local haberdashery or sewing shop, fabric shop. So yes, I'm going to use this one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make it 3D. We're just going to wrap. So I'm just going to, this is a bit fiddly, but I'm just going to wrap. I mean, I don't need my pliers right now, but I'm just going to wrap the wire to secure this nice and tightly and evenly to the hoop. Okay, so that should do it. Let's just try the other one as well. So we get that somewhere in the middle. And then I'm just going to wrap that side round too. Secure it around there as well. Now this wire is lovely and bendy and adjustable, so I do like using it. If yours isn't as flexible, you can always use a pair of pliers to twist the wire nice and tightly around the hoop, because you want it to stay in place, don't you? You don't want to move about. There we go. So don't worry about how ugly that bit looks, because you're not going to be able to see that. And keep adjusting as you go. You're not going to be able to see that, so I wouldn't worry about how it looks right now. And if it's really bothering you, can always cover it with a bit of fabric or ribbon or something just to hide it. But remember, your clouds are going to go around it and your rain, so you won't even notice this green bit here, or whichever colour you have. Okay, so there we go. So it's like a nice little, excuse that bit, was a bit of glue, but yeah, so that's how it's going to be. Okay, so it's 3D, like that. And I can just adjust it to sit where you want it to sit. Okay, so it's going to hang from the little loop there. And now we're just going to set this aside for later and work on our clouds and raindrops. If you have an embroidery hoop about the same sort of size, that would be great to use. I'm actually going to use mine. If you don't have one, it's not a problem. You can actually just glue your ring that you've created straight onto the fabric. I'm preferring to do it separately, just because when I'm sewing it, I don't want it to interfere with my rainbow. But you can glue it straight on. If you do have the embroidery hoop, please use that, because it will just make things a little bit easier when you're sewing the raindrops onto the fabric. I found this fabric, it's just a scrap piece that I had. It's nice and thin and it's white, but if you don't have this, it's not a problem. You can just use normal white cotton, or you could use a different colour cotton if you want to. But I think if you're making your clouds white, then it's best to stick to a white fabric. You're not going to see this because it's going to be hidden amongst the clouds. But this is just so you can sew your raindrops onto it. So we're just going to put a nice bit of the cloth into the centre like that, stretch it out, push it in, get it nice and taut if possible. That's it. Careful of the bias, and then we just want to tighten it all up. Bear with me while I tighten it. Just to help you when you stitch your little raindrops on. Okay, I'm going to get rid of some of this extra fabric because I'm not going to need it. Leave a little bit around it, and when we attach it to the wire. I mean, you can even use the hoop for your little workmanship here for your piece. I'm just choosing to, so I'm not doing a very good job of this, am I? Okay, so don't worry about any of that, you won't need it. Now this is a bit time consuming and a little fiddly, but you literally just need to take some of the thread, and it's difficult to see this thread, I appreciate, so this is going to be a bit tricky, but you just want to decide on a length of your of a raindrop falling, and it's nice to alternate them, so you want them different lengths. So I'm going with about that much to start with. Cut that off. I do need a needle, so that would be helpful. You need a pretty fine one in order to get through the two there. Keep that one out as well. Yeah, and we literally just want to go through the raindrop and create a little raindrop. Okay, so I'm only going to do single thread. I don't want to do double because I want it to stay invisible as possible. Okay, so we're going to go through the bead, around. We're going to get a seed bead. We're going to go through that little guy. And then we're going to go back up the other bead. You don't go through the seed bead again, leave the seed bead where it is. As you can see, I've put a tiny bit of gun glue in there. It's just enough just to stop the end, and then it holds the bead. And as long as no one pulls the beads, it'll hold. If you have the patience to tie a knot, then by all means do that. I'm going to glue gun both ends, back and front. I'm just going to cut that a little bit off so you can't see it. I'm also going to add a bit of glue gun glue to the top, and then that is basically done. And you need to make as many as you possibly can, or as many as you'd like, of your raindrops. Okay, so have a think how many you'd like to make, and then I'll show you how we're going to attach them all to the cloth. What I suggest is putting a couple of bulldog clips onto the outside frame on the reverse side, just so that it doesn't move about when you're going to attach the raindrops, and it holds everything in place without you having to put it down. Hang some string through the bulldog clips just to hold it up for you whilst you're sewing it. So now next thing we're going to do is take our tulle and we're going to bunch it up, and we're actually going to start gluing it just to the edge bits. It's just going to sit there like that underneath. Got my white and blue tulle, and I'm going to use a mix of both, and I'm going to literally get some, scrunch it up, and then just glue it in patches around to make it look like clouds. Okay, so we'll do that now. We're going to keep it quite loose, and we're not going to put a lot on to start with. We're just going to blob on some glue like that. I'm just going to blob it around. I'm not going to put lots and lots of glue on. I want to be able to sew through it, and then I'm just going to press it lightly onto that fabric. And we are going to have to keep on checking where it needs more glue, because it is going to need to sit there quite nicely, but also feel almost like a cloud. We want it to look like a cloud. Make sure you don't stick it to the actual frame. Don't stick it to the frame part, because we're going to take that off. So just make sure the glue is actually sticking. And you just want to go around little blobs like that. Make sure you're sticking it to the fabric. You'll be able to get rid of any lumpy bits at the end that you don't want showing. But we want it to sit nicely, like almost like a little puff like that. So we just go round, a bit more here. don't want to do too much in the middle at the moment because we're going to sew through that with the actual rain. Okay, and we're not worried about the top or anything like that at the moment because we're not attaching the rainbow. We just want to have a base to sew the rain clouds onto. We've got something that's resembling a cloud a little bit there now, and that's it. I'm quite happy with just that much. I think that's it for now. So that's all we need to get started. We just need a nice puff like that so that we can attach the rain to it. Okay, so we're going to thread our bead. Now, I've tried using the nylon string and it was an absolute nightmare to work with. So I've just opted for a very pale pink, and the reason I'm doing that is because the walls in my room are pink. So hopefully it will look a little bit more invisible than just normal standard thread. But yeah, so I'm going to feed that through my cloud out the top. So when you start to see where it, have a quick look where you want your droplet to be. So I'm thinking about there is about right. So I want more different lengths, and then we're just going to secure it at the top. So just tie a little, just stitch over what you've just done and secure the bead. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my little one dangling there, and now we're just going to literally do that over and over again. Just feed it through, get our little bead dangling where we want it. I don't want it too long because I really don't want to be untangling it, so I think I just want a few nice ones like that. I wouldn't recommend this mobile for children simply because of the small beads and the small parts. So please don't make this for somebody that is very young and might swallow the beads. That there is my cloud all ready to go. It's been quite a pain to do, to be honest. It's I mean it looks lovely, I must admit. I love the little crystals on there, and I love the way the tulle sits nicely as a cloud, but it was such a pain to actually feed all of those little beads on. But you can get carried away and do as many beads as you like. I think that's my lot. I'm not going to do any more now. Okay, so we're going to remove the bulldog clips, and I'm just going to take the ring off carefully. Oh, I think I might have glued that down. Got to be careful. If you have, don't worry, you're just going to have to take your scissors and snip a bit off. Be careful not to cut through the other part of the fabric. Okay, I'm just going to remove that. And then we've still got our cloud attached there. Okay, but we're going to attach this ring in place of it now, and we're going to glue all the way around to get this fabric hanging on. With it, and I'm just going to put a little blob on all four sides just so I don't go over, I don't stretch it too much or too less, and I'm just going to do that, cover that up there, same on the other side. That's it, and then we're just going to literally make sure that we glue all the other bits lay around like that, just a little bit. I know it looks really messy right now. I promise it won't look this bad when it all starts to come together. Oh, I've got glue on my fingers. When it all starts to come together, you'll see. Be patient. Okay, and I'm just going to wheel it all the way. So I don't want to be looking at this bit. Okay, just be careful you're not tangling up all your beads as well, by the way. Last thing you want is tangled up beads when you've made such a nice little mobile, and then the last thing you want is to sit there untangling tangled up beads. So that is it. And then we're going to now, while your glue gun's out, we're going to get some more of the tulle, and we're going to cover up all these sins here with some more tulle. So I'm just going to get my scissors and I'm going to cut pieces. So cut as you go. You don't want to put too much on, and you just want to go around. You don't want to completely cover the rainbow, but you do need to cover areas, maybe overlap a little like that. But you don't want to go so high off the bottom there, because then you're going to be covering up all your work with the rainbow. So I'm just going to turn that slowly around. So I want to keep it fairly flat but wide, a bit there as well, like that. But I do want it to still look like a cloud, so it's just taking the time. You're really going to have to keep checking, stepping back, and see how it looks. Lift it up every so often, have a look. If you want to, you can pull some of the bottom bit up and the top bit down, just to blend it a little. And then this, I do not want this sticking up, so I'm going to, I've done that, that's it. Just want to do that down there. See, that's starting to look quite cloudy. Oh, I need to get another glue stick. Side at the moment, so I just want to make sure covering it. You don't want any corner bits, because clouds don't have corners, do they? So just make sure you're tucking in any bits that don't look fluffy. Like that. Bit there. Right, I think I'll put a bit of blue on and then maybe a bit more white afterwards. And we're just gonna, like I say, just keep on cutting chunks, work your way around. So yeah, I like that bit. Keep developing it. There we go. You know where material is needed more, and keep remembering that you don't want to tangle up your beads, because I really don't want to be undoing that later on in my handiwork from earlier. Oh, that's hot. Only half the nose at the heat of a glue gun, hey? Gotta admit, you do get used to it, don't you? Okay, that's looking better, but I still have areas where it looks very naked still, so I'm going to pad it out a bit more white. And it is going to take a fair amount of padding, so just take your time with it, don't rush it, come back to it later if you want to, have a little break. That's what this is one of those which you can really just take your time. You can come back to it whenever you want to. It's not like one you have to do there and then. You know, some crafts are you have to complete them on the day, because for example with clay you have to make your shapes and everything on the day, because otherwise it dries out. But the beauty of something like this is that you can just come back to it when you are ready, when you're ready to do a bit more. You can put it away for a bit if you don't want to do it, and then you can come back to it again. And I really like those kind of crafts, because I think they're the ones that you enjoy the most, because you come back to them and think, oh, you know, I fancy doing a bit today. Or you can leave it completely alone for a while because you're just so fed up of it. But as you can see, look, it's starting to look more like a cloud. A little bit like a cloud. Stick it to my fingers rather than I quite like that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So same sort of thing, but for that side, just so it looks more cloudy. And that's it. Just keep on building up your clouds until you're happy. You don't want to make them too big, but when you get to the point where you're happy with the size, then that's it, you're finished. Just tie a little ribbon through the loop at the top and it's ready to hang. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial for this mobile rainbow Raincloud. Please do give me a thumbs up, a like and a subscribe, especially if you'd like to see some more videos. And if you have any suggestions of any ideas you'd like me to try, I'm happy to check them out. So please leave a comment below and I shall see you next time.